Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube updates. I will try to be a little bit more animated this week. I had some criticism last week that you seemed a little bit like sleepy and it went on a long time. What was going on? Well, I had to film that one at night. So after working 10, 12 hours, that's what you get. so I'm trying to get back on the morning schedule, but that happens during short weeks. So anyway, apologies all around for that. Today, I have a bunch of new releases to show, as usual, and I have news items to talk about. And I'm just trying to get everything sort of situated here as to where everything is. Um, all right, so I think first point of business really today, doing the new releases here for September 13th, 2024. So, big thing, first thing to say is that, well, we have a Beatles announcement. November 22nd, there's going to be a Beatles box set containing the first eight records of the American chopped up releases, as opposed to what the British ones were. But these were the releases that introduced Americans to the Beatles, and they'll be all new, new mono transfers. So that's sort of exciting, I suppose. So certain albums that will be in this box set will be things like Meet the Beatles. This one, pretty famous first one. Um, oh, interesting. Huh. I just am noticing that the person who had this record before me, they bought it from someone for $60, and we're selling it for 35. So go figure. But anyway, this one features "I Want to Hold Your Hand." I saw her standing there. So those were on the first one. Second album, this one, "She Loves You," "Roll Over Beethoven," "Please Mr. Postman." This one had a lot of covers. "You Really Got a Hold on Me" is on that. There was the "Hard Day's Night," which was kind of like half an album of singing and half instrumentals, but it does have "A Hard Day's Night," "I Should Have Known Better" instrumental and vocal. "If I Fell," and "I Love Her," "Can't Buy Me Love," those are on this. Um, so it's really kind of a hodgepodge for Americans. Something new. This album, this was a little bit more sort of also, "And I Love Her" is on here again. And "If I Fell," also "Things We Said Today." And "I Want to Hold Your Hand," sung in German. "Komm, gib mir deine Hand." Is that what it is? Yeah. Gib mir. Let's see. And yeah, Beatles 65 also in that batch. "No Reply," "I'm a Loser," "She's a Woman," "I Feel Fine." And then the early Beatles. And this one has "Love Me Do," "Twist and Shout," "Please Please Me," "Do You Want to Know a Secret." So that'll be a nice set. And then the Beatles story is sort of a box set exclusive, I guess, which is like spoken word and tracks that are sampled from across their albums. So that begs the question, well, what about the other ones? There's speculation that there will be probably a second box set at some point with the second batch. It kind of makes me wonder, like, there are some people that are been very patient waiting for a Rubber Soul box set because we got Revolver 2 years ago. And last year, when people were expecting Rubber Soul, we ended up with that blue and red greatest hits thing with the new undiscovered song that they finished as the last Beatles single. And now this year, we get this instead of Rubber Soul again. So, as I tell some of my older customers, you're just going to have to live longer. That's what's going to have to happen. So, anyway, so November 22nd, look for that box set. Anyway, so let me get to new releases for today. And there's so much stuff coming out this fall that's just being announced right now. But a couple weeks ago, I showed this box set. Ugh. See if I can grab it here. Miles Davis Quintet. Let's see, the Live in Europe 1967, the Bootleg Series Volume 1. This was done by Music on Vinyl. 5 records. Nice set. Features, I guess I should have said who was on it. Miles Davis, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Tony Williams. And we just received the second one. Miles Davis Quintet. This is live in 1969. Bootleg Series Volume 2. The Lost Band at its Hottest, featuring Miles Davis, Wayne Shorter, Chick Corea, Dave Holland, and Jack DeJohnette. 3 complete live performances from 1969, 4 LPs in superior sound and packaging, includes insert with extensive liner notes. So these box sets are nice, and they're not cheap, but and they're imports, I think. Well, I don't know. Music on Vinyl, I think they've been doing some stuff over here now too. But anyway, there you have it. You can go crazy with Miles Davis. There are 5 of those, by the way, and so far those are the only ones we've gotten. Also of note, if you're a Fish head and you've been sort of like missing these or wanting these, Fish Rift came back in stock. This one is lacquers cut from the original half-inch flat masters by Chris Bellman at Bernie Grumman Mastering. He does really great work. This is a 2 LP bitter blue color vinyl pressing. I always make fun of that bitter blue thing. Another one that we got, this is a picture of Nectar. And this is same information but on grape apple pie color vinyl. I'm guessing that's sort of a mixture of colors there. And the third one right now, Junta, and this one is a 3 LP set, the others are 2, on Fluffhead black and white swirly color vinyl pressing. So I'm sure it's quite pretty. Fish's stuff is never cheap, but this features the 11-minute David Bowie track called David Bowie, by the way. And Hoist is supposed to be coming out next week. So, Fish fans, there's your information for the day. Okay, let's get on to some other stuff. So this is kind of an interesting release, and it's limited. I've been told very limited. It was not supposed to be sold by anybody but the band and this limited distributor, and not even One Stop. I don't know. They'll probably end up with it, but they say not so many. Anyway, 2 LP, War on Drugs, Live Drugs Again, their second live album, and so this is, I think, kind of exciting because I think the first Live Drugs album was very good, sold very well. Is currently out of print. I don't see it anywhere for sale unless I'm missing something. But this features, it's 2 LPs. It's not cheap again, but it's a very nice package. They did like a very thick sort of tip-on hardcover, or whatever they call tip-on hardcover sort of gatefold here. Features Harmonia's Dream, Burning, Old Skin, Come to the City, I Don't Want to Wait, Pain, Slow Ghost, In Chains, Living Proof, Under the Pressure, and I Don't Live Here Anymore. Sort of a modern epic band, popular in this area in particular because Philadelphia is home to War on Drugs. So the band, gotta clarify that. All right, let's see, let me grab some other things here. It's easier if I grab a bunch and then just sort of go through them. Frank Zappa, Apostrophe, gets a reissue. I'm starting with some of the reissues today because there's actually more of them, it seems. Apostrophe turns 50th anniversary remaster by Bernie Grumman on 180 gram gold color vinyl, celebrating Frank Zappa's first U.S. gold record. Includes a booklet with new essays and never-before-seen images. This is the one that features Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast, Nanook Rubs It, and Stinkfoot. There you go. Zappa fans, take note. Oh, there's also, I should mention, there's a CD box set for it that's much more extensive, and it's this little package here, but it's like $100, and it's 6 discs, 5 CDs, and a Blu-ray audio. So you get a Blu-ray audio of the album, and then the 5 discs are the album, a 74, and then a 2024 remaster, or I guess that's, so you get the 2024, sorry, you get the album as a 2024 remaster, and then you get session bonus tracks. That's disc 1. Then disc 2 and 3 are Colorado Springs concerts from 1974, and discs 4 and 5 are Dayton, Ohio from the same year. So it's you get 2 concerts in there complete. It's nice if you're a Zappa fan. So more reissues this week. Verve by Request. We've got Freddie Hubbard's The Body and Soul and the Soul. This album, these were Impulse originally. It says recorded in 1963. So it has the original kind of Impulse packaging style. The little sort of, hey, this is an Impulse record up there. Freddie Hubbard, 1963. That's a pretty great era for him. Also, this one, Art Blakey. It's Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and it's called Art Blakey Jazz Messengers. And let's see, this one, I don't know, 1961. So again, a really good era for him. Yeah, those are pretty cool. So those Verve by Request. Blue Note this week, we're doing Blue Note classics again on blue. These are the ones that are on blue vinyl. They're limited. They're only doing 10 of them for indie stores only, and then that's done. This series is probably going to be highly collectible in the future, probably worth more money in the future because they didn't make as many on blue. And they're using the masters from the 80th series. So Horace Silver, Song for My Father, very popular album, probably his most popular, most famous. And Dexter Gordon's Go, probably also his most popular, most famous. Both on blue vinyl. Pretty cool. Limited time. All right. There's a lot of in twos today. So the Bluesville series, this is done by Acoustic Sounds. Usually see like Verve Acoustic Sounds, a lot of jazz releases. Now they're doing some blues releases. This is pretty cool. Lightnin' Hopkins with Sonny Terry. And this one is Last Night Blues. And this one, what year is this? Good question. It's also 1961. And then the other one here, 1968, Albert King. And this is Live Wire Blues Power. So really nice series. They're doing these thick covers again, and good pressings. Matt Ludens, that's how you say it, did the mastering. He works with Kevin Gray quite a bit, so I think he might use some of his equipment, but Kevin Gray is the guru as far as him and Bernie Grunman are the two top rated mastering engineers right now. Well, I would say let's add Chris Bellman to that. So really there's 3. You have sort of like, is it possible to have celebrity mastering engineers? I guess so in 2024. Let's see, this album, let's see if I can pronounce this right. It's Pacheco. Let's see if I get, it's pronounced Cañonazo. Fania is early sort of Latin jazz. El Gran Pacheco is what this says. Trying to remember his first name, but Johnny. And this is apparently the first release that was done for the Fania label, which is what makes it sort of, I guess, iconic and kind of sought after in a way. The 60th anniversary, first album released on the label, as I mentioned, includes the classic song Fania, and Lacquer's cut by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio. So I think Latin jazz has been having kind of a renaissance in a way, and a lot of, to the point that you've got these sort of renowned mastering engineers cutting them again. So that's pretty great. This is an interesting record, Highwaymen. This is Highwaymen live at Nassau Coliseum. And this was done, I'm trying to remember what year this is. Oh, 1990. So this features Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and Willie Nelson live together. Features songs Highwaymen, Mamas, Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, Good-Hearted Woman, Ring of Fire, Folsom Prison Blues, Help Me Make It Through the Night, Always on My Mind, Me and Bobby McGee, Lukenbach, Texas, On the Road Again, some of the most famous country songs done live. I think that's going to do really well. That's been out on CD before, but now we're finally getting that on vinyl. So, one for the Bon Jovi fans, greatest hits. Now, you think, well, there's so much Bon Jovi out in the world, true, but it's kind of nice to have the greatest hits all in one spot on a 2 LP set. So this features Living on a Prayer, You Give Love a Bad Name, It's My Life, Have a Nice Day, so it's got some of the newer ones. Wanted, Dead or Alive, Bad Medicine, We Weren't Born to Follow, I'll Be There for You, Born to Be My Baby, Blaze of Glory, John Bon Jovi, Who Says You Can't Go Home with Jennifer Nettles, Lay Your Hands on Me, Always, Runaway, What Do You Got, and No Apologies. It's a pretty good track listing. He just got notoriety today for talking some woman from jumping to her death off a bridge in Nashville. And so, whatever you think of John, I'm sure, he's got a good heart, I think, when it comes down to it. But, yeah. Anyway, Bon Jovi Greatest Hits. Another sort of rock record that some people might be looking for. It's been out on Music on Vinyl before as a pretty good pressing, but Velvet Revolver's Contraband, their first record. So if you're into Guns N' Roses, if you're into Stone Temple Pilots, you got Scott Weiland on vocals. Like, go through my Scotts in my name. I'm like, it's not Scott Stapp. Features Fall to Pieces, Slither, and Dirty Little Thing, plus 6 bonus tracks that have not been on vinyl before. Those are Fall to Pieces acoustic, Bodies, Surrender, No More, Negative Creep, and Money. So that's a 2 LP. Comes out on the 13th. Meat Puppets, Huevos. There's a fair amount of Meat Puppets stuff getting reissued on vinyl now, and CD as well. So if you're a Meat Puppets fan, now's the time to be looking into that. And another reissue, which has also been out as a 1 LP, but Mac DeMarco has been doing a series of double records. And actually, this might just be the second one, or the third. Salad Days, Hear Me Now, For I Am Mac, Brother of Hank, creator of Salad Days, listed as a top album of 2014, and it lists all these Pitchfork, Rolling Stone, double vinyl including both Salad Days and the Salad Days demos, and a poster and new liner notes. So it's not cheap. It's kind of a big trifold sort of looking cover, but anyway, pressed on black vinyl with holographic effect. Ooh, does that mean it's sort of like that old Styx Grand Illusion album that had hologram on it? That was a hologram, right? Catfish and the Bottlemen. This was a very popular album when it came out, and I don't want to say I don't know what happened to them, but they're not as like sought after as they used to be. So maybe it was something of a time. I don't know, but yeah, 10th anniversary. So would be 2014. The Balcony, limited edition, transparent double vinyl, 6 bonus tracks, including acoustic versions and the B-side Asa. This album was really popular with teens at that time, so I'm sure there's an audience for that. And also, continuing with the reissues, Indigo D'Souza. This one's called I Love My Mom. And this is on rose quartz color vinyl. This was their 2018 debut, featuring the songs How I Get Myself Killed, Take Off Your Pants, and What Are We Gonna Do Now? Vulnerable and fierce, says Pitchfork. I love her artwork. It's always so intriguing and very culturally referencing. Neat stuff. Okay. Oh, and I've got one more reissue here. Actually, I've got a couple. There's a lot. Tori Amos, Unrepentant Geraldines. This is one of her later albums from like, I don't know, 2010 or so. Maybe later than that. What year is it? All they're giving me on the back here is 2024. Say on the sticker? No. I want to say it's like in the 2010 era, but this is includes bonus tracks Dixie, White Telephone to God, and Forest of Glass. Decca released this, so and her original label was Warner, so it's later. I don't really know why they haven't reissued for her the rest of her Warner stuff. They've only done the 2 albums, the first 2, no, 3. They've done Boys for Pele, but they haven't done From the Choir Girl Hotel, I don't think, since it came out, and that record is up to maybe $300 to $400 online now. I remember buying it in a store for like $20 when it came out, $25. And also like her covers album from that era, and the To Venus and Back, that was like an album with a live record. So I don't know what Warner's think. Maybe at some point it'll show up there'll be like record store day items or something. I don't know. You heard it here first. Maybe that's a suggestion. Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die. This is another one that has been out before, but then they put this like special cover together for like its 30th anniversary. This is the 30th anniversary limited edition with newly reimagined cover art. Features quintessential hip-hop tracks Big Papa, Juicy, and One More Chance. I don't think there's any extra new music on it. I think it's just a new cover. It's a cool cover, though. I mean, it's a kind of a famous picture, and I like the fact that it's got, Also, the cover of the original, though, has been cited by many as to be like one of the best covers of all time. So why you mess with that, I don't know. And then some other reissues here. Coldplay, Parachutes, and Rush of Blood to the Head, and X and Y. All 3 of those are out again this week. It's been maybe almost 9 months, 6 to 9 months since I've had Parachutes at all in stock. Probably about the same for Rush of Blood. These are 140 gram black eco records, so Coldplay are going very eco-friendly and pressing those. There's some, I guess, people are like happy that they're making these eco records out of existing vinyl, but there's also some people who say, well, I don't know if they sound as good because they're using parts of records that have already been made. So I don't know if that's a thing or not. I just want to hear the music, basically. And also another artist getting some reissues, Pat Benatar. This is In the Heat of the Night, Crimes of Passion, and Precious Time. Her first 3. These you can usually find in like used sections of stores, but it's kind of nice to see her getting some actual love for like, getting a reissue that are like good, clean sounding copies. My one thing I would say is I don't know why they don't bother adding. There's got to be some extra like demos or things that they can do for her to add to these. I don't know, but the first one, this is an iconic sort of record breakthrough. Had Heartbreaker and We Live for Love, Those were sort of, at least Heartbreaker was a pretty big hit, although We Live for Love's my favorite. Crimes of Passion had You Better Run. The big hit was Hit Me With Your Best Shot. And also I'm Gonna Follow You is a great song. And it also has her cover version of Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights. If you've never heard that, it's kind of weird, but it's not bad. And then it's just more American. And then Precious Time. This features Fire and Ice was a big hit. I think this one was kind of, and her version of Helter Skelter. Promises in the Dark. This was kind of like, I think, the bridge between the next album where she had Get Nervous, where she had the crazy hair. That one was a huge record. That one maybe had Shadows of the Night. All right, new releases. Those are the reissues. You've been waiting 26 minutes. Van Morrison, new arrangements and duets. That's exactly what this is new arrangements and duets. I can't remember who the duets are with. You can look them up online. But it's not all duets. There are some that are strictly Van songs. So there are new arrangements of, it's kind of like a hodgepodge record for him, but sometimes those are his best work. Miranda Lambert, Postcards from Texas. It's a great shot with her and these cattle. I love it. New album features Wranglers and Damn It Randy. Damn It Randy. You know who you are. All right. He's not watching this video probably, but Floating Points, Cascade. Well, their last record was really big. The one that they did with Pharoah Sanders. Now Pharoah's gone. So this is sort of a solo record. Floating Points is basically one person. It's really sort of like electronica, like kind of like a sort of a cerebral type of electronica, not like stuff that you necessarily would hear on a regular dance floor. It's electronica for homebodies, but it's very good. It's very well done. So Suki Waterhouse, fresh off her Daisy, what's it called? The Aurora album from Daisy Jones. So she was in that project, a huge project. This is her new album, Memoir of a Sparkle Muffin. I love that cover. This is kind of a weird cover on the back where she's got a spider crawling out of her mouth. Ew. What's that all about? Let's see. So Suki is a double 2 LP set, so a lot of material. This is the loser edition, first pressing on color vinyl. Another artist I find intriguing, Lady Blackbird, and this is Slang Spirituals. I think this is her second album now. She might have had more before this, but I think she's going for a slightly more acoustic-y, earthy sound on this one. I don't know. It said something in the description about she takes a shift in tone. So the last one was sort of a bluesy, kind of bluesy, jazzy thing. So this one, maybe it is more spirituals. I don't know. It says Slang Spirituals. So when the game is played on you like a woman, no one can love you like I do. Someday we'll all be free. This sounds a little bit sort of not gospel-y, but maybe inspirational, maybe gospel-y. Nick Lowe. See, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know because I haven't heard these records either. They're all new, but like a few weeks ago, I think I mentioned Nick Cave. His album was supposed to be really upbeat. Wild God was supposed to be, and it has upbeat tracks on the beginning, but it does have a lot of moodier stuff on it too. So, you know, those things sometimes I'm learning while you're learning. Nick Lowe, his new album, Indoor Safari. This is an album he recorded with Low Straight Jackets. If you like those guys, they wear masks. They play great sort of rockabilly surf music, featuring Went to a Party and Jetpack Boomerang on bamboo vinyl. Okay. And yeah, I mean, he's been making records since the 70s. So, and he loves putting these pictures of these cantankerous looking ladies on the cover too. No, I love it. Let's see. Oh, the last track is called Don't Be Nice to Me. Okay, Nick. See, Cranky. New Snow Patrol album. That's a band I haven't heard from in a while. The Forest is the Path. Deluxe Gatefold Marble Blue Edition featuring the singles The Beginning and All. Double album. Looks like 12 tracks. 12 tracks. I forget the guy's name from this band, but I always sort of liked his voice. Let's see. Another band I haven't heard from in a little while, The Script, and their new record, Satellites. I'm sure this is doing crazy stuff on your TVs and computer screens right now. Script, yeah, sort of earnest kind of pop rock stuff. But they've been very popular, so this is a classic cult fan favorite band, Not a Surf, and this is their first new record in a while, I think, featuring the singles In Front of Me Now and Second Skin limited edition Coke bottle clear vinyl. The album's called Moon Mirror. It's a very understated kind of cover here. Yeah. Not a Surf. They kind of came out like the time that Weezer was breaking out and stuff. And so I think a lot of those fans sort of trickled over. So some of them might still be following them. This band hasn't made an album in like 10 years, I think. Jesus Lizard. And their new album, Rack. And indie exclusive Silver Streak vinyl. Interesting cover. Jesus Lizard, always sort of interesting band. Here's a band that I was like, is this a new record? Faust. And their new album, curated by Zappi W. Diermeyer. And it's called Blickwinkel. I don't know if I can say that on TV. I don't know what that means. But yeah, Faust. It's a sort of a krautrock, progressive rock band. Been around since late 60s or early 70s. Says recorded a fair amount in Hamburg. They're German. I'm not going to go through all of their names because you'll be testing my German pronunciation. But yeah, this is a new record. 6 tracks. Some of them are quite long. The first one's called Vorschlaghammer. So they had another famous, their debut had sort of a X-ray looking thing on the cover. So still around. This guy's great. Tim Bonus. And this is his new album, Powder Dry, 2024 album featuring Rock Hudson, Lost Not Lost, performed and produced by Tim Bonus, mixed by Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree. This is on K-Scope Records, which is Steven's sort of label, an affiliated label. Tim was the lead singer of the band No Man, and has had a fair amount of solo recordings too, but No Man did quite a few. I don't know, they might still even be a thing too. It's kind of like they just drift in and out of whether it's him solo or the duo, but it's him with Steven Wilson usually, and then Steven's been doing so much on his own. But most of these songs are between 1 and 2 minutes long. There's 16 of them. So it might be kind of an interesting record. It says Tim plays vocals, instruments, samples, editing, and production. And Steven Wilson mixing, additional editing, and patience. Recorded between November 22 and February 24. So, new Tim Bonus record. And also, Sasquatch Sunset, the soundtrack by Octopus Project, who's kind of a proggy, I think they're sort of instrumental. It's an indie retail exclusive green smoke vinyl. Sasquatch Sunset is the name of the film, and it stars Riley Keough, who I believe is that's Elvis Presley's granddaughter, right? And also Jesse Eisenberg. So soundtrack to a new movie, Sasquatch Sunset. All right, let me get to my recommend and then wrap it up. My recommend for this week, I was kind of like going through and listening to some things that recently came out, and then I thought, I should really kind of recommend something by them a little bit. And so this band just put this box set out, Ultravox Lament. This is their album from 1984. You can get it as a 2 LP remaster, I believe, or it might be a single LP. I think it's 2 LP with some extra stuff, or this box set, which is 5 records and has an extra concert in it. So this was the original type style of cover of this album. The Ultravox, fronted by Midge Ure at this point, they'd already been around in an early incarnation with John Fox as their lead singer in the late 70s. And John left and Midge stepped in, and it was just at the time that Midge was doing another side project called Visage. And they were having their own hits in England with Steve Strange as the lead singer. And he was like one of those club kids. And their songs were very artsy. If you look up Visage, and Fade to Grey was like their biggest hit. But then Midge had also been in a band called the Rich Kids. They did an album. I think he'd done a couple other things. He also was a touring member of Thin Lizzy for like a year or something as a guitar player. And he just was doing so many things. So he was doing that and Visage, and then all of a sudden this opening came up to be the lead singer of Ultravox, or the leader, and he stepped into that role pretty seamlessly. And Ultravox, by the third single, I think Vienna was the third single in like 1979, and it went to like number 2 in England, and it was held off by some good stuff and some ridiculous stuff for a while. But anyway, big hit. Ultravox ended up having 10 top 20 hits in the UK. And they're a band that I always kind of thought like it was the era of, excuse me, U2 and Simple Minds, and why they didn't really take off in America like either of those bands. I think probably because Midge went solo in the mid 80s, and it sort of, when he tried to go back to the band, they'd kind of lost their sort of support system and their drive to be like as big as that, I think. So they never really gained that notoriety, but this was their biggest album or second biggest album in the US. I think it hit like number 115. With Quartet was their biggest. They had albums that were produced by Connie Plank, who did a lot of krautrock stuff, and George Martin, who produced the Beatles. So one of the few bands that worked with two legends like that. But this one was self-produced. It was their last big hit album, and it came out the year right before Live Aid, when Midge got tapped to do the music for Do They Know It's Christmas. Actually, I think that came out that fall, and then Live Aid was the next year. So, but he did the music track for that song, most of it. And you kind of hear that in the first track here, White China. It definitely has a lot of musical kind of synthetic. They were early synthesizer sounds, but it had this kind of propulsive type beat to it. And so those two songs are kind of similar sonically. I don't know why White China wasn't released as a single, because again, I listened to this album back and I'm like, that seems like the obvious first or second single to me, but they sort of tried to push them in a little more of a rock direction. So the second and third tracks, One Small Day and Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, those were the big sort of like more, let's go more of a U2-ish direction. I mean, they'd done songs like Reap the Wild Wind. that had kind of more of that anthemic type quality to it. And definitely Dancing with Tears in My Eyes was a huge hit in England. That song being sort of about um, a couple sort of like embracing for the last time as a nuclear war was happening. And and the video kind of depicted that too. And why that wasn't a bigger hit in the US also, I can't really say. There was just so much going on in 84 music wise between Bruce Springsteen, Prince, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper. There was so much going on. So it just got a little buried. But anyway, those are two really great rock songs that follow White China. And then the fourth track, Lament, is more of a kind of almost like reference to that kind of Asian influence that bands like Alphaville brought on their song Big in Japan. What else? And the band Japan, David Sylvian and stuff like that kind of echoes on that song a little bit, a little more kind of that Asian influence. Side two to me is a little bit like maybe lesser in some ways. I mean, Man of Two Worlds is a pretty good song. I like the female vocalists on that track. Mae McKenna adds a lot to it. Heart of the Country is a great sort of political type song. And it ends with the sort of urgent, A Friend I Call Desire. When the Time Comes on side two is a little more of a synthy song and probably kind of gets buried in the album a little bit, but it's a pretty good, catchy, could have been a single type song as well. So there's only 8 tracks on it, but it is like a full length, what was considered a full length album at the time. What I was going to say about the artwork was this was sort of like the original artwork instead of having deluxe edition here, it had like the song track list on the cover. So you got a pretty black cover with not really, it's all sort of embossed a little bit or has this kind of textured look to it. And they replaced it on later editions with a picture of this rock formation on the cover. But anyway, Ultravox is a band that I highly recommend that you look into if you're into that sort of early 80s rock. They really did a good job with mixing what was sort of modern cutting edge synthesizer sounds and rock music more than a lot of other bands did. And Midgear had a pretty anthemic kind of singing voice, really, really top-notch singer. So, and all of the band was, they were really good musicians. And, you know, it's a shame it kind of ended. You see that with some bands where they just, like, they reach a point and then it just didn't go past it for internal strife or whatever was going on. So anyway, and then he went on and had like a big hit debut single solo and never really looked back to the band as a full-time job. So and that didn't really last that long actually, so go figure. Anyway, thanks guys for joining me for another edition. I recommend Ultravox Lament. Go check out like Quartet if you want to hear a George Martin album that was produced that wasn't Beatles related necessarily, that he worked on, as a good album too. So Rage in Eden's another great album. So all right, have a great weekend. Thanks again, appreciate you watching, and look out for a Beatles box set in November and many other things coming down the pike. Take care, peace.